This is a story, a fantastically true story, from the files of Herbert A. Philbrick, who for 9 frightening years did lead 3 lives: citizen, communist, counter-spy, and who has now revealed for the first time his secret files concerning not only his own activities, but also the current activities of other espionage agents. For obvious reasons, the names, dates, and places have been changed, but the story is based on fact. This week, Herbert Philbrick brings you the story of the counter-spy who was willing to risk his life to teach a youth the truth about communism. Well, hello, Mrs. Hawkins.
Hello, Mr. Philbrick.
If you're looking for Eva, she'll be back about 4 o'clock. She took the kids to the playground.
Yes, I know. I waited for her to leave. I wanted to talk to you if you have a minute.
Well, sure, I've got a minute. What about?
Well, it's about Steve.
Oh? What about?
Well, I don't know exactly how to begin. I don't want to burden you with my troubles. After all, I'm only a neighbor.
You're an old friend, Mrs. Hawkins. Now, you tell me what it is.
Well, Steve's in some sort of trouble. Ever since he got out of high school, he's been at loose ends. He's going from job to job without ever knowing what he really wants to do.
Well, it's that way with a lot of young fellas these days.
It's different with Steve. I've tried my best to be both mother and father to him, but he's gone wrong, Mr. Philbrick, and I don't know what to do. I think Steve's joined the Communist Party.
The Communist Party? Are you sure? Has he told you?
No. You have children, Mr. Philbrick. You know when they have something on their minds. Sometimes they don't have to tell you, but you still know, don't you?
Yeah, I guess I do.
Well, that isn't the reason I came here. I want your advice.
Yeah?
What should I do? Oh, it's been driving me crazy. Should I try to talk to him, just ignore it, or should I go to the authorities?
Golly, I don't know, Mrs. Hawkins. How can you be sure? What proof have you got?
Hey, Mom! Oh, what are you doing here? I told you I wanted an early lunch.
Hi, Steve.
Hi, Mr. Philbrick.
Well, I know, Steve, but I was out of bread and I wanted to borrow some from Philbrick.
Oh, well, come on, let's go. I've got an appointment.
Well, sure, Steve. Thanks anyway, Mr. Philbrick.
Sure. Steve, how are things going? You still working at that cleaning plant?
Oh, no, I gave it up. See you around.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Could you please tell me how far it is to Hobart Street?
Well, about 8 blocks straight ahead.
Thank you, thank you.
Emergency, Philbrick. The FBI never comes near your house except when something important's come up. But take it easy. Give Jerry Dressler a chance to drive away. He knows you saw him. He'll be waiting for you at the new meeting place. Jerry.
It's okay, we can talk here.
What's the emergency?
Herb, is anything unusual going on at cell headquarters?
Not that I know of. Why?
You're not working on any new assignments for them?
No. What's up?
Well, that's what we're trying to figure out. Looks like you might be in for some trouble.
What do you mean?
You're being watched. You've been watched night and day for the past week.
Watched? I didn't know. How'd you find out?
We're just making the routine spot check in your neighborhood. One of our men discovered it accidentally. We found out they've had you almost under a microscope for the past week. Watching you through binoculars, taking pictures of you coming and going.
I don't like the sound of that.
No, we don't either. It's one thing for the party to watch you while you're working on an assignment, but to tail you like this night and day. You know, it could mean that they found out something.
Yeah. Who's doing it? Some member of my cell?
No, that's got us stumped, too. We haven't got a line on him. All we know is that he lives in your neighborhood.
What's his name?
Steve Hawkins. You know him?
Yeah. Are you sure he's a commie?
No, but the way he's working certainly follows the party pattern. Besides, why would anybody else want to tell you?
Yeah, that's right. Matter of fact, his mother came to see me about him. She thinks he's in with the commies, too. Wanted to know whether to go to the authorities.
What did you tell her?
Didn't have a chance to tell her anything. The kid came up while we were talking.
Are you and your family friendly with the Hawkins?
Oh, yeah, with Mrs. Hawkins. She's a widow. She's kind of hard up. We use her as a babysitter whenever we get a chance.
Well, maybe she can give you a line on why he's been watching you.
Yeah, I'll have another talk with her, and I'll get back to you.
But no, Herb. Don't do that.
Why?
Don't contact us until further notice. We'll get in touch with you whenever we're sure that the coast is clear. Just be careful.
Okay. Mrs. Hawkins, so nice to see you.
Hello, Mr. Philbrick. Thank you for asking me to come down. I hope I'm not disturbing you.
Not at all, not at all. Please come in. Here, sit down.
Thank you.
Well, now.
This is what first made me suspect that Steve is a communist. Or at least interested in communism. I found them hidden in his closet.
Yeah. It's commie propaganda, all right.
I made the mistake of asking Steve what he was doing with those. He flew into a rage and told me it was none of my business and demanded them back. I said I'd burned them.
Mm-hmm. Besides these, has there been anything else that makes you think Steve might be a communist?
Yes, something happened a few days ago. 2 men came by to visit Steve. He said they were his friends. I heard them talking to him in his room.
Well, could you hear what they were talking about?
Well, I heard one of the men mention something about an assignment. He told Steve if he did a good job, he'd be up for promotion in the party.
This assignment, you know what it was?
I'm not sure. It was something about following a man. They gave Steve a camera and binoculars. That's strange, isn't it?
Yes. Yes, it is strange. The man he was following, do you have any idea who he was?
Only that it's somebody who lives in our neighborhood. Somebody the communists don't like.
What makes you say that?
Why else would Steve spend all his time keeping track of this person? It scares me, Mr. Philbrick. Late at night, I see Steve standing at his window, looking off through those binoculars, just watching and waiting. What have they done to my son? Why would he turn communist?
I don't know, Mrs. Hawkins. I guess Steve's the only one who could answer that.
That's not important now. It's too late to ask why. The important thing is to stop him before he does any harm. Please, tell me what to do. Should I report him to the police? Can I turn in my own son?
I can't tell you that, Mrs. Hawkins. I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know. I don't think that in a situation like this, any person can tell another person what to do.
You're right. I've got to decide for myself. I think I know. I've got to go to the authorities. Thank you for helping me.
I haven't done anything for you.
Oh, yes, you did. You listened to me, and that's what I needed. Somebody to unburden my heart to.
She's going to get in touch with the FBI. Whatever Steve is trying to get on you, they'll be able to stop him now. You'll be safe. Philbrick speaking.
Mr. Philbrick, this is Mrs. Hawkins.
Oh, yes, Mrs. Hawkins. Nice to talk to you.
Please, Mr. Philbrick, I've got to see you right away. Please, it's very important.
Well, all right. Why don't you come up here to the office?
Oh, no, I can't. Please come to the park on Adams Street. I'll be waiting there for you. Hurry, Mr. Philbrick. It's very important.
She wants to tell you that she's called the FBI. It's pretty hard on her, but at least you won't have anything to worry about now. Oh. Hello, Mrs. Hawkins.
I've made a terrible mistake, Mr. Philbrick. That's why I asked you to come here. I want to rectify it at once.
I'm afraid I don't understand. Rectify what?
Well, it's really quite simple. All those terrible things I said about Steve were completely unfounded.
Unfounded?
Yes, I made up the whole thing. Everything I told you was a lie. You know why I did it? I guess I just wanted attention. I made the whole thing up.
Then that decision you were going to make about Steve...
My decision was to tell you the truth. I'm a mean, spiteful woman. Steve and I had a little fight, and that's why I made the story up. I just want you to forget it. Just forget I said anything. You will, won't you, Mr. Philbrick?
Don't worry about it, Mrs. Hawkins. There's no harm done. It's forgotten already.
Oh, thank you. I'm sorry I bothered you.
Oh, my purse.
They made me say it. Thank you.
Goodbye, Mrs. Hawkins.
Goodbye.
The party got to her, Philbrick. They've stopped her cold. But for how long? She's a woman with courage. Maybe they haven't frightened her as much as she wants them to think they have. Jerry. Nothing but emergencies these days.
I'm glad I was able to reach you.
Well, what's up? Something about Steve Hawkins?
Yeah, Mrs. Hawkins was in to see us last night.
Oh, good. Oh, that's wonderful news. I was afraid she wouldn't have the courage in the face of the party threats. She talk?
Everything.
What are you going to do about Steve Hawkins?
Well, nothing yet, outside of watching him. We still don't know why he was ordered to tail you. We've got to find that out. Meanwhile, we'll give him a little more rope.
Yeah, well, I hope that rope doesn't end up around my neck.
Well, don't worry. If he was trying to get something on you, he hasn't succeeded yet.
Oh, maybe not, but this living under a magnifying glass is starting to make me a little jumpy.
Yeah. Well, take it easy. Something will break.
Yeah, my nerves.
Hi, Mr. Philbrick.
Oh, what are you doing here?
Well, I just dropped by to see you. I told your secretary I was a personal friend of yours, so she said I could come in here and wait.
Uh-huh. Did she say you could come in here and go through my desk, too?
I was looking for a match. Couldn't find any. You got one?
Okay, you got your match.
I told you. I dropped by to see you.
What'd you want to see me about?
Well, things have been a little slow for me lately, and since I know you're a big shot in the advertising business, I figured maybe you'd give me a job.
What advertising qualifications do you have, Steve?
What do you need?
Oh, what have you been doing?
Well, I drove the delivery truck for the cleaners and worked for a while in the filling station.
I'm afraid advertising is a specialized field. You don't have the background for it.
Okay, so I pick it up the hard way. I don't care where I start. What's the lowest job you got, huh? Mail boy? It's good enough for a start.
No openings. Tell you what I could do, though. Maybe I could fix you up with another firm. Would you mind working out of town for a while?
Out of town? No, I don't think so.
Why not? I thought you said you needed a job.
Yeah, well, I do, but you see, I've got a couple little things here in town, and I just couldn't leave right now.
Yeah, what kind of things?
Little things, nothing important.
I've seen you looking out the window with those binoculars of yours. What kind of a job do you call that?
What binoculars? I don't know what you're talking about.
I've seen you taking pictures with that camera, too. Who are you taking pictures of, Steve, and why?
What have you been watching me for? What right do you have to spy on me?
Spy on you? You didn't think you were hiding from anybody, did you? In plain view in that window.
I know. No, of course not. Look, who said anything about that, huh? Well, I've got to go now.
Why do you have to go, Steve? I'm kind of an amateur photographer myself. I'd like to talk to you about those pictures.
I'm late for an appointment. I've got to go now.
Score one for you, Philbrick. You had him starting to sweat. Maybe you and his mother can break the party's hold on him yet. Philbrick.
Mr. Philbrick, can you come right over to my house? This is Mrs. Hawkins. Please, I need help. Please, please, please.
Well, Mrs. Hawkins, Mrs. Hawkins. Mrs. Hawkins, what happened?
They broke in, those two men from the party. They said this was only a sample of what I'd get if I did any more talking.
Are you all right?
Oh, yes, they caught me phoning you and they twisted my arm. That doesn't matter. Look what they did to my house.
Come on, let me get you to a doctor.
Oh, no, I'm all right. It doesn't matter what happens to me now. Nothing matters anymore.
Come on.
Mom, what happened?
Your friends paid me a visit, that's all.
Did you see them?
No, I just got here.
Well, I phoned Mr. Philbrick for help. He's the only friend I've got.
Well, who were they, Mom? What do they look like?
I told you they were your friends, Steve. The men who came to visit you last week. Your friends.
My friends. They knew you talked, Mom. But I told them I could handle you. You're my mother. I told them never to bother you. They promised me, Mom. They promised they wouldn't bother you. They promised me.
Who, Steve? Who promised you?
Who? Never mind who. Oh, Mom, I'm so sorry. It's my fault. It's all my fault. Dirty, filthy, rotten.
He said he was sorry and it was all his fault. Do you think maybe he... Oh, no, Steve, no. Go to the FBI. They'll take care of them.
I'll take care of them my way, Mom.
Your way? No, Steve, this is their way. Please, don't do it.
I'm sorry, Mom, but I've got to get even with them. I've got to do it. Give me the keys to your car, Mr. Philbrick.
The keys to my... What for?
I need a car. Give me the keys.
Come on, I'll drive you.
Now, don't try and trick me, Mr. Philbrick. You want to drive? Okay, but don't try and trick me.
I'm not going to try and trick you. I'm trying to help you.
Why?
Look, you're trying to get back at the party for what they did to your mother. That's the first decent thing you've done since they got a hold of you.
She told you all about me, huh?
No, that doesn't matter now. You're breaking with the party. That's the important thing. Now, come on.
Okay, this is good. Thanks for the ride. I'll walk from here.
Where to, Steve? Cell headquarters?
That's my business.
What are you going to do when you get there? Tackle them all single-handed?
Don't worry about me. I can take care of myself.
The way you've been acting lately, I kind of doubt that.
You'll find out.
Look, Steve, there's another way. Give me that gun.
I don't want any more advice from you. Now, will you mind your own business?
I'm just trying to help you, Steve.
With what? With words, huh? No. No, words aren't going to help now, Mr. Philbrick. I've got power. Power in this lousy second-hand gun. But it's the kind of power they listen to.
Yeah, maybe they will. But what about the consequences?
It doesn't matter. What happens to me doesn't matter now. I've done a fine job of wrecking my life and my mother's. And maybe I could have wrecked yours, too.
Oh, by watching me?
That's right. That was my first assignment for the party. They told me if I made good, I could be a big shot.
Why'd they pick on me?
I don't know. I wondered about that myself at first, but they wouldn't tell me. I figured maybe because you were a party member yourself. They always tail their own members.
So you figure I'm a commie, too?
No. No, but I figured it out. Now, the reason they picked on you was because you're the most important man in the neighborhood. I guess they thought if I could keep track of you, I'd be able to do the same on a real assignment. But you know, I couldn't even handle that. You got wise to me right off.
Steve, won't you let me help you?
It's too late. I've got to get even with him.
Now, Steve, maybe we can do this my way.
I can't do anything right. I even let you take my gun away from me. You know, I'm just no good at anything.
Is that why you joined the party? Because you wanted to get somewhere?
That's right. Look, don't you see? I just wanted to amount to something. I couldn't make a go of any of my jobs. They told me I could be a big shot. They were interested in helping me.
Now you're interested in getting even with them for what they did to your mother.
That's right, but how?
It's easy, Steve. Why don't you go to the FBI? Let them handle it. That's their job.
The FBI? You don't know what you're talking about. I'd have to tell them I was a commie.
I don't think they'd hold that against you. Besides, I don't think you were. Not a real commie. There's a phone booth right up there, Steve. There's a dime. The rest is up to you.
I don't know. The FBI. I'm scared.
All it takes is a little courage, Steve. The same kind of courage your mother had.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It just takes a little courage, doesn't it? Thanks a lot, Mr. Philbrick. That's a dime I owe you. I won't forget it. Operator, local office of the FBI, please.
Nice work, Philbrick. There's just one little remaining detail you've got to work out. What the party is going to say when they find out you were responsible for getting Steve Hawkins to turn informer. You better do something about that, and do it right away.
I was getting worried about you, Herb. You stayed in cell headquarters an awful long time. I stuck around to see that they didn't tail you.
Well, I stayed in cell headquarters because I had a lot to get off my chest.
What?
I really bawled them out for even considering a green kid like Steve Hawkins for membership in the party.
Good. And they agreed with you?
They not only agreed, but those two goons that wrecked Mrs. Hawkins' place are going to be suitably taken care of.
Nice work, Herb.
What about you? You got some good news?
I think so. We persuaded Steve Hawkins to let us help him.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. He's not a bad kid. You know, in a strange way, Jerry, I think he learned a lot from his little brush with communism.
I'm sure he did.
And I found him a job. It's not much, but it's got a future, and I think this time he's going to stick with it. Tell you what I'd like you to do, though. I'll send you the information, and I'd like you to pretend it all came from you.
Thanks. I will.
Good deal.
See you. Don't leave until I get clear. See you.
Steve Hawkins has learned a lot from the communists. Haven't we all, Philbrick? Haven't we all? Thanks to the combined efforts of a mother, a counter-spy, and the FBI, a youth was made to realize that the only future in communism is in fighting it. Next week, we'll bring you another story from the files of Herbert A. Philbrick, citizen, communist, counter-spy.